Jeanette Roche. This is Forum Daily West. Here are some of the top stories we've been following. Two Israeli embassy staff members gunned down in Washington, D.C. in a targeted attack by a man yelling, "Free Palestine." Plus, still waiting to hear from the union on its latest offer, Canada Post agrees to return to bargaining. And Prime Minister Mark Carney officially sworn in as MP and will take a seat in the House for the first time May 26th. Thanks so much for joining us. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says the latest offers from Canada Post fall short with only hours to go until a looming strike deadline. The union, representing about 55,000 Canada Post employees, says it's still reviewing the proposals, but it identified several areas where the offers disappoint. The union highlighted stagnated wages and cost of living adjustments. Canada Post says it's already started to see mail volumes decline ahead of the possible labor disruption. Prime Minister Mark Carney has officially been sworn in as MP for the first time. Carney swore allegiance to King Charles in a ceremony today on Parliament Hill, 3 weeks after voters elected him in the Ottawa riding of Nepean. Carney will take his seat in the House of Commons on Monday when Parliament returns. Then King Charles will read the throne speech in the Senate chamber on Tuesday. A 31-year-old man from Chicago has been charged with the shooting deaths of a young couple Wednesday night as they were leaving an event at a Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. The double murder has shocked the U.S. Capitol. Police say it was a targeted attack.
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
This is the direct result of toxic, anti-Semitic incitement against Israel and Jews around the world that has been going on since the October 7th massacre. Recently, we have witnessed an unprecedented wave of terror attacks and attempts against Israeli missions around the world, with an emphasis on Europe.
The 2 people killed were identified as Israeli citizen Yaron Leshinsky and American Sarah Milgram. The Israeli ambassador to the United States says the young couple were about to be engaged. The gunman has been identified as Elias Rodriguez. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's devastated and appalled by last night's targeted attack and says his prayers are with the victims and their loved ones. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the couple was killed simply because they were Jewish. Israel's ambassador to Canada has met with senior officials from the Foreign Affairs Ministry after Israeli soldiers fired warning shots earlier this week in the West Bank near a diplomatic tour that included Canadians. Ido Mued says he won't discuss what happened in that closed-door meeting after being summoned. He would say only that Israel will be transparent as it investigates the incident. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand confirmed yesterday that 4 Canadians were part of a tour in Jenin when shots were fired. The Israeli military accused the group of leaving an approved route and said shots were fired into the air, quote, to distance them. Fortunately, no one was harmed. Head of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association, Flavio Volpe, is calling for an exploration into the potential of a new Canadian-born automaker.
Look, we've been making cars for 120 years, together with other partners. We make the argument that we have the best ecosystem, the best tool makers, the raw materials, suppliers, people, innovation ecosystem, and a posture. Those arguments, I've propagated them, I've defended them. But it's time to think in a time where Donald Trump has caused us to really defend the idea of, what is Canada. Other countries in the world respond with, well, what is Japan? Well, it's Toyota. And Germany responds with Mercedes, Volkswagen. We need to respond with a real look at whether we can sustain a Canadian automaker so that we create a nexus for applied technologies in manufacturing AI, advanced autonomous connected drive, Internet of Things, and as well, real traditional making of things that people use, that they consider themselves tied to in that identity.
This, unfortunately, has not been the first time we've reported that 2025 hasn't been the greatest year for air travel, particularly on North American soil. Well, early Thursday morning, another incident happened. A small plane crashed into a San Diego military housing neighborhood, setting about 15 homes on fire, along with vehicles, and forcing the evacuation of about 100 people. Multiple people on board the private plane are dead, but no one on the ground was injured, according to authorities.
It was like a big bang, basically, and then we looked up, and then we see a bunch of smoke and fire. So that's when we knew it was time to go. So.
This morning at approximately 3:45, 3:47, we had reports of a plane down in the Murphy Canyon neighborhood. San Diego Fire quickly coordinated a response for a plane down incident, and our units responded and started to investigate.
We had officers from throughout the city that responded. We had over 50 officers that were able to get here within minutes. We started evacuating all of the homes that were impacted. We had an evacuation center up at Miller Elementary. We have close to 100 people that have been displaced and are up there.
Finance ministers from the G7 have emerged from their summit in Banff, Alberta, with a joint communique. The governor of the Bank of Canada says the ministers agreed on and worked on 4 key areas of leadership.
Reducing policy uncertainty, addressing unsustainable global imbalances, improving the dialogue around tariffs and fixing the problems in the global trading system, and implementing policies to boost productivity and growth. Today, we also had important discussions on fostering the adoption of AI, equipping workers in our countries, and harnessing the productivity gains from AI. Over the last 2 days, we also discussed reducing risks in our financial system, and we agreed on improving data collection and sharing of information on non-bank financial institutions. I want to particularly highlight the tone of the discussions was particularly constructive. Maybe we were helped by the breathtaking views of the Canadian Rockies and the wonderful fresh mountain air, but whatever it was, there was a real spirit of constructive engagement, a spirit of working together to the benefit of our citizens.
The meeting this week in Banff precedes the G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis, Alberta, coming up in June. Well, if you've been driving around Lethbridge, then you've likely noticed the 2 new speed reduction measures implemented by the city. 9 traffic calming curbs and 20 digital speed indicators have already been installed at different locations. Ahmed Ali, Transportation Engineering Manager for the City of Lethbridge, says speeding is a primary and secondary cause of collisions, and 50% of collisions occurred at intersections.
So as you see in my background, these are called temporary traffic calming curbs, and they have been used in Alberta, in Canada, in many locations. There are many advantages other than just reducing the speed. You know, reduction of speed itself helps so much in road safety. The other initiative we have is speed feedback sign, and that tells you what's your speed. So instantaneously drivers are reminded that they are going over the speed limit, and that has a psychological effect on people, and then they slow down. And both are evidence-based. So all the solutions we are using in the city are evidence-based. By implementing more and more recommendations from the Transportation Safety Plan, we are able to achieve our Vision Zero. And again, to remind, what is Vision Zero for City of Lethbridge is achieving 0 fatalities and injuries, major injuries primarily, from the road collisions in 2040.
Ali says the benefits of traffic calming curbs include shortened pedestrian crossing distances, improved driver yielding and stopping compliance, and better visibility at intersections. I personally love the little happy faces there. Automaker Stellantis says it's postponing production of the Dodge Charger Daytona RT at its assembly plant in Windsor, Ontario for the 2026 model year. The company says the change comes as it continues to assess the effects of U.S. tariff policies. but it's continuing to produce other versions of the popular Dodge Charger muscle car. Stellantis says the change in production will not affect employment at the Windsor facility. Work was halted at the auto assembly plant in Windsor for a week earlier this month after production was shuttered for 2 weeks when U.S. President Donald Trump first imposed the tariffs back in early April. TD Bank Group says 2% of its workforce will be cut as it aims to save around $600 million a year. The bank announced the reduction while reporting a second quarter profit of $11.1 billion. The cuts will amount to around 2,000 employees being let go. Well, the Lethbridge Housing Authority, the Blood Tribe Department of Health, and the City of Lethbridge are celebrating the opening of the new Wellness Center and shelter expansion on Thursday. The new and improved shelter will be able to accommodate 200 beds, more than double the previous capacity for people in need of safe housing or in need of recovery. It's made to be more accessible with those with physical and mobility challenges and comes with a security nest to supervise activity down below. Those who have partnered with the project say the expansion was a long time coming.
We know wintertime, inclement weather, we're challenged at times. How do we continue to support members when we are seeing kind of the crowdedness? Well, this is just alleviating some of that and further accommodating the guests here at the shelter.
This will provide a safe space, and it will also allow us to keep the stabilization beds open year-round because we won't have to worry about expanded winter space because we'll have it here. So it will make a great impact, and it will allow people to continue their healing journey through the winter time. It's going to take all of us to make this happen, so I'm very grateful that we are here showing our support for each other as organizations and for our partners, the Blood Tribe Department of Health. I think that together we can make a large impact in our community, and I'm just really pleased that they've all come to support us.
Before the expansion, the shelter could accommodate 91 individuals, but saw over 250 people sheltering during the winter. Following the province's announcement Wednesday on the expedited construction of various new school projects across Alberta, the Palliser School Division says they are excited that the town of Colehurst will see a modernization of their existing high school. The school, built in 1957, will now move forward to the design phase of the project. Superintendent Dave Driscoll says they're greatly appreciative of the province investing in education in rural zones.
It's a project that we've been working on for numerous years, trying to move forward on. Colehurst is a community that continues to grow, and we're getting a little tight on space in our schools. Over the last few years, we've gone into the planning phase where we did a lot of work with our community in deciding what to build and how and what it would look like. And we're excited that through the accelerated program that we're moving forward into the design phase. And hopefully into the construction phase sooner than later. This government is still investing heavily in our rural areas, and they have faith that these areas need modern schools just like everyone else. Our school that we have is a great school. Staff are amazing. Kids are getting great education. But when we can expand that with a newer facility that offers opportunities beyond what they can have in their existing building, it will enhance their ability to be successful in anything they choose to do in the future. So we're looking forward to that, and we're gratefully appreciating the work that Alberta Ed and Infrastructure is doing.
Tourism Lethbridge is recognizing the important role of frontline workers. They were celebrated at a party Wednesday at the Southern Alberta Ethnic Association. Tourism Lethbridge CEO Aaron Crane says the event recognizes the important role of hotel employees, servers, retail, and other staff who play in delivering exceptional visitor experiences.
And they're the ones who really make the difference. When you make an impact in a visitor's life, that's when they go home and they tell more people about the experience that they had in Lethbridge. That's when they decide, oh, hey, we're going to stay a little bit longer and we're going to spend more money and we're going to go to the place that you recommended. Today, we are also launching the Explore Lethbridge app. it is only right now for those frontline employees. If they go and they show the app at the attractions around town, they will get in for free so that they can see firsthand what those attractions are all about.
When we're celebrating them, we're saying you're important, because if the frontline workers are giving a really good impression, that often will be enough for someone to want to come back. And I think a lot of times they're unheralded in the kind of work that they do, because people think, oh, they're just, frontline, they're just working. But they're really not, because they are definitely ambassadors for our city and our whole region.
Oh, because they're the first interaction that many people have with Lethbridge, and they set that first impression. And Lethbridge is fun, friendly, and inviting, and we have such a great diversity of cultures that live in Lethbridge. 100 different languages are spoken, and we have young people, we have old people, we have people all ages working in those jobs.
According to the most recent study from Stats Canada, federal, provincial, and territorial governments collected 93.7% of the government revenue generated by tourism in 2023.